Jeffrey Dahmer, a name that sends chills down the spines of those familiar with his horrifying crimes. His actions have left an indelible mark on the annals of criminal history. Between 1978 and 1991, Dahmer terrorized the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. His reign of terror spanned over a decade, leaving a trail of fear and devastation. He preyed on young men and boys, luring them back to his apartment with promises of companionship or alcohol. These unsuspecting victims had no idea of the fate that awaited them. There, behind the closed doors of apartment 213, he committed acts of unimaginable cruelty. The horrors that took place within those walls are beyond comprehension. Dahmer's crimes shocked the world. The sheer brutality and inhumanity of his actions were almost too much to fathom. He wasn't a shadowy figure lurking in dark alleys. Instead, he blended into society, hiding his monstrous nature behind a facade of normalcy. He was our neighbor, living a seemingly normal life. To those around him, he appeared to be just another ordinary person. His apartment, a place where one expects to find comfort and solace, was actually a carefully concealed house of horrors. The true nature of his residence was hidden from the outside world. The discovery of Dahmer's crimes sent shockwaves through the community and beyond. The revelation of his deeds was a stark reminder of the evil that can exist in the most unexpected places. It forced people to confront the unsettling reality that monsters can hide in plain sight. The facade of normalcy can often mask the darkest of intentions. This essay delves into the dark world of Jeffrey Dahmer, exploring the chilling discoveries made inside his apartment and the psychological factors that contributed to his horrific deeds. We will uncover the layers of his twisted mind and the impact of his actions on society. Dahmer's apartment was located in the Oxford Apartments, a nondescript building in a quiet Milwaukee neighborhood. The building was nothing remarkable, blending in with countless others across the city. Inside, apartment 213, Dahmer's residence, was similarly unremarkable. The apartment was small, comprising a living room, a bedroom, and a kitchen. It was sparsely furnished, giving off an air of emptiness. There were no outward signs of the horrors that unfolded within its walls. To the casual observer, it was the dwelling of an ordinary, if somewhat solitary man. However, this ordinariness was merely a facade, carefully crafted to conceal a sinister reality. Behind the closed doors of apartment 213, Jeffrey Dahmer was living a double life. To his neighbors, he was quiet and kept to himself. To his victims, he was a charming predator, luring them into his web of terror. On July 22, 1991, Milwaukee police officers entered apartment 213, responding to a report of a man who had escaped from Dahmer's clutches. The man, Tracy Edwards, had flagged down two officers, leading them back to the apartment where he had been held captive. What they uncovered was a scene of unimaginable horror. The apartment was filled with a sense of dread, as if the walls themselves held the dark secrets of the atrocities committed within. The apartment, once seemingly ordinary, was now an irrefutable testament to Dahmer's gruesome crimes. Every corner of the space seemed to whisper the tales of the unspeakable acts that had taken place there.
The stench of decay was overpowering, permeating every corner of the apartment. It was a smell that clung to the officers' clothes and lingered in their nostrils long after they had left the scene. In the refrigerator, officers discovered severed heads, neatly packaged and preserved. The sight was both shocking and surreal, as if they had stepped into a nightmare. A large blue drum, emitting a foul odor, contained the partially dissolved remains of Dahmer's victims. The chemical stench was almost as unbearable as the sight itself. Drawers held Polaroid photographs, documenting Dahmer's horrific acts in graphic detail. Each image was a chilling reminder of the brutality and inhumanity that had taken place.
The apartment was littered with the tools of Dahmer's gruesome trade knives, saws, and a power drill, all meticulously cleaned and organized. These instruments of death were a stark contrast to the chaos and filth that filled the rest of the apartment. The discovery of these items sent a chill down the spines of even the most seasoned investigators. They had seen many things in their careers, but nothing could have prepared them for this. It was clear that they were dealing with a killer who was methodical, calculated, and utterly devoid of remorse. The meticulous nature of Dahmer's actions revealed a mind that was disturbingly organized in its madness. Even before the police uncovered the full extent of Dahmer's crimes, the smell emanating from apartment 213 had become a source of concern and complaint for his neighbors. The smell was described as overpowering, a nauseating blend of rotting flesh and chemicals. It permeated the hallway, seeped under doors, and clung to clothes.
Dahmer offered various explanations for the smell, blaming it on spoiled food, plumbing issues, or his exotic fish tank. However, the truth was far more sinister. The smell was the byproduct of Dahmer's attempts to dispose of his victims' bodies. He experimented with different methods of dissolving flesh, using acid and other chemicals.
These attempts were largely unsuccessful, and the smell persisted, becoming a constant reminder of the horrors unfolding within apartment 213. The neighbors' complaints, though well-founded, were tragically disregarded. The smell, a potent warning sign, was ignored for too long. Section 5. Dahmer's Psyche, a Descent into Darkness. Understanding the depths of Jeffrey Dahmer's depravity requires delving into his psyche.
What drove him to commit such horrific acts? Psychologists and criminologists have long debated the factors that contributed to Dahmer's descent into darkness.
Some experts point to a troubled childhood marked by neglect and social isolation as early contributing factors.
Others highlight potential neurological abnormalities and a genetic predisposition towards violence. Dahmer's fascination with death, evident from a young age, also offers clues into his psyche.
His crimes, often involving cannibalism and necrophilia, suggest a deep-seated need for control, dominance, and a desire to possess his victims even in death.
Dahmer's meticulous record-keeping, including photographs and preserved body parts, further points to a calculated and obsessive personality.
Section 6. Public reaction, fear, disgust, and demand for justice. The news of Jeffrey Dahmer's arrest and the subsequent revelations about his crimes sent shockwaves through Milwaukee and beyond. The public was horrified and repulsed.
The idea that such depravity could exist in their midst, concealed behind the facade of normalcy, was deeply unsettling. Fear gripped the community, particularly among the families of young men who had gone missing in the area. The realization that their loved ones had fallen victim to Dahmer's predations compounded their grief and anger.
Public outrage was palpable. People demanded justice for the victims and accountability from the authorities. The case sparked a national conversation about serial killers, the warning signs that often go unnoticed, and the societal factors that contribute to their crimes. It also highlighted the importance of mental health awareness and the need for early intervention.
Section 7. The Trial and Conviction Justice Served. Jeffrey Dahmer's trial began in January 1992. The courtroom was packed with journalists, spectators, and family members of the victims, all eager to witness justice being served.
The prosecution presented a mountain of evidence against Dahmer, including the gruesome discoveries from his apartment, his detailed confession, and the testimonies of his surviving victim. Dahmer's defense team, tasked with defending the indefensible, pursued an insanity plea. They argued that Dahmer's actions were the result of a severe mental illness that rendered him incapable of understanding the wrongfulness of his conduct. However, the jury ultimately rejected this argument.
On February 17, 1992, Jeffrey Dahmer was found guilty on 15 counts of murder and sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms in prison. The verdict brought a sense of closure to the families of the victims and reaffirmed the public's belief in the justice system.
Section 8. The Oxford Apartments. Demolished but not forgotten. Following Dahmer's conviction, the Oxford Apartments, once a place of unimaginable horror, became a symbol of tragedy and a painful reminder of the crimes that had occurred within its walls. The building, which had once been a home to many, was now a haunting relic of the past. The building stood vacant for a time, shunned by potential tenants and shrouded in an eerie silence. It was as if the very walls whispered the dark secrets of what had transpired there, keeping people away. In 1995, 3 years after Dahmer's trial, the Oxford Apartments were demolished. The decision was not made lightly, but it was seen as a necessary step to help the community move forward. The decision to raze the building was driven by a desire to remove a physical reminder of the tragedy and offer the community a chance to heal. It was hoped that by erasing the structure, the emotional scars might begin to mend. The site where the building once stood was transformed into a memorial garden, a place for reflection and remembrance. this garden became a sanctuary for those who needed a space to grieve and remember the lives lost. The demolition of the Oxford apartments, while symbolic, could not erase the memories of Dahmer's crimes. The community would always carry the weight of what had happened, but the physical absence of the building was a step towards healing. However, it did mark a turning point for the community, a step towards healing and moving forward from the shadow of tragedy. The transformation of the site into a place of peace and reflection was a testament to the resilience and strength of the community. Section 9. Conclusion. Remembering the victims, learning from the darkness. Jeffrey Dahmer's crimes shocked the world, revealing the depths of human depravity and the terrifying reality that monsters can hide in plain sight. His apartment, a place of seeming normalcy, became a chilling testament to his gruesome acts. While Dahmer's name has become synonymous with evil, it's crucial to remember the victims, the young men and boys whose lives were stolen. Their stories must be told, their memories honored, and their absence mourned. The legacy of Jeffrey Dahmer serves as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance, compassion, and understanding. It underscores the need for greater awareness of mental health issues, early intervention, and a society that values inclusivity and support for those who are marginalized and vulnerable. By learning from the darkness, we can strive to create a world where such horrors are never repeated.